Girl, stop playing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin Podcast, where we are encouraging you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. I'm your host, Koereyelle, and I got somebody real special in the building, y'all. Real special, real special. My girl, Karli Harvey-Raymond is in the building.
Hi, Koereyelle. How are you?
Listen, we've kind of come together. Anytime I can get you on my platform, I'm like, how can I make it happen?
I love that.
So
Thank
from
you.
honoring you as, the Claire Huxtable Award years ago for serving so well in your wife and mother role, right?
Yes.
Then we put you on the cover of Work magazine, right? The cover girl. And now you are back to share your wife's wisdom. So I'm excited to have you.
I don't know. I guess they say I got some.
You got some. You got some.
7 years in the game for us.
Listen, you not only do you have some, the way that you deliver it is just such a joy. Y'all are going to enjoy this conversation, okay? Because listen, we got to go back and find that footage from the Claire Huxtable Award. The advice that you gave, the stories you told, your delivery, it was just so amazing. It was amazing.
You know, when people stop me, like, "Oh, you said this, you said that," I'm like, "What did I say?"
But that's how you know that it's divine, right? It's coming through you.
I appreciate
But
that.
before we get into the godly word, we're going to play a little game. This ain't got
we
nothing to
playing
do
the
with
game
God, this
first.
game. Yeah, we playing the game
Oh,
first.
I need a fan.
It's-
Okay.
You got toasty real quick, didn't it? It's a little never have I ever game, but it's real innocent. We don't have no real drinks, no shots. So we're just going to use a little bell, okay? So I'm going to ask you a question or say a statement.
Okay.
If you've done it, tap, tap. You're just going to tap the bell.
If I've done it, I will ring
You're
the
going to
bell.
tap the bell,
Gotcha.
all right? And y'all, these are some real, G-rated questions. Please feel free to drop, some X-rated ones in the comments, not for Karli, but for future guests that will be victim.
I know my followers. They're
They're gonna be like, wait a minute. They gonna, all right, well, feel free. If you wanna add a few, we can definitely do that. So let's get into it. All right, question number 1.
Okay.
Never have I ever hitchhiked.
Oh, no.
Never?
No, I don't. People scare me. No.
You was scared of strangers for real.
No, I'm very old school. I don't even like Ubering for real. I
was
don't
gonna
like
say
getting in the
that-
cars
that's a-
with strangers.
Okay. Moving right along to question number 2. Never have I ever snuck out of my parents' house.
Never have I ever snuck out of parents' house.
Oh, do we get a story? Do they
really
know
gotta
you got caught? Did you
remember.
get caught?
No, I'm a G, baby. I'm a G.
Wow. But you also had reinforcements. Like having a twin had to have been helpful in that situation.
My sister is sleepy, so
Okay.
she don't, you gotta really be like, help me.
We doing the thing. It's time to do the thing.
I'm asleep, girl. What? I'm gonna unlock the door for you. All right.
But you was out there. You was outside. She was
I've been, I've been delivered.
But, right. We talking to wife Karli now. Okay, number 3. Never have I ever been on a blind date.
Oh,
You not about that life either, Karli?
No, I've never been on a blind date.
Wow.
It has never. I would not have been opposed to it. But
It just
I've
never has been a
no,
thing. Okay.
Never happened for me.
Okay. And I'm thinking that I know the answer to this, but never have I ever did online dating.
Oh,
Question number 5 is coming from you, Karli. Tell us something we wish we would have known that we can't guess because you didn't do any of the things.
Okay, so online dating, that was kind of like
before,
yeah,
right? That's what I was
like
thinking.
I've been with my husband. Like we met 10 years ago.
Okay, so it wasn't
we met
really a
10
thing.
years ago. So now I think if I was single now, I would be in online dating. I would probably be out there kind of have me a little profile here on
Dibbling and dabbling.
Talkify. What's that thing?
Talkify,
I got some friends on Talkify. I would probably do something like that.
So you wouldn't
But
be
back
opposed to it?
then, no, I just didn't. I was just out meeting people.
When I
was out meeting people.
Let's talk about you being out meeting people, being the daughter of the Media Mogul Steve Harvey, right? That has to come with. She cracking up, laughing. People, y'all, it be your own people. You don't even respect your daddy. Why you just laugh, cracked up, laughing like
my
that?
sister just joined in this live, and here she gonna say, no, she wouldn't. She wouldn't do no online dating. She said I don't like people like that. But okay, I would. I really
Brandy
would be
coming
open.
to the next interview.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay, but dealing with the pressures, what I would feel like would be pressure of having this father, right? How did that affect you being able to meet men organically? Oh, got to join us over on YouTube, y'all. We are logging off of Instagram Live. Come on over.
Yes, join the YouTube chit chat on YouTube. But y'all can stay on. I'm gonna stay on live, but tell your friends
To tell your friends.
to get on YouTube. Okay, so how was it dating being Steve Harvey's daughter? Well, the thing about it is, I didn't think about it, because when you have a parent who, my dad has been on television since I was probably around 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. And then he was doing Showtime at the Apollo back in the day. And so when he ended up going on television doing the Steve Harvey show and things like that, I was in middle school. Mm-hmm. I was probably in middle school, and then he was very popular in high school. So it was kind of a part of my life I didn't really think about. I didn't have to go into it. I was always very discerning about people that I spend my time with, though, because I was always very conscious of people who could be potentially users or people who had ill intentions. So I always had a clear spirit of discernment in when I was around people or engaging in dating. And so that was where I was. But it wasn't difficult to meet people, because a lot of people growing up in Cleveland, they knew me, they knew who I was, they knew my dad. When I was in elementary school, my dad would drop me off at school, sometimes. So it wasn't a thing, right. I think when I got to college, it became more of oh shit, her dad, her dad,
the pressure of
oh man, you can't talk to her. And I'll be okay. But I feel a man who is bold enough and secure enough in who he is, he's not even scared. He's not thinking about that. He's if he has an attraction to me and wants to be with me, all that other stuff seems to be that doesn't even come into play, right. Because he's if this is divine, if this is what we're trying to do, I can't focus on your daddy.
Right,
what he about to do?
That's not what I'm here for.
He ain't in here. He ain't hopping in on this.
So is it not hopping in on this?
He ain't about to be.
So listen, is this one of those things where it's this may have been a conversation with other guys and they kind of eliminated themselves, but when you didn't have this conversation with your husband, you didn't have these concerns, these thoughts, he just came in and was bold enough and confident enough to not think twice about it.
Yeah, and anybody that I had ever been in a serious relationship with, I never even thought. That was never even a thought. But my husband, when I met him, he had met my dad before I even knew who he was. Mm-hmm. So
tell that story.
Okay, so when I first met Ben Raymond, I always call him his full name. But when I first met Ben Raymond, it was interesting. He had been a sponsor at our family's mentoring camp in Dallas for years. So when the mentoring camp started in 2009, he had been coming as a sponsor. He knew my sister. He knew everybody. I had never even met this man. Mm-hmm. I had never laid eyes on him. And so when I saw him in 2012 for the very first time, he was coming out of our meal tent, and he was super tall. My husband's 6'5". So just a little, I thought he was a basketball player at first, and a little bit in me was oh, he play ball, what he do? I'm all right. All right. You know what I'm saying? But
he was just tall.
He was tall. He was tall. But I definitely automatically, and plus it was athletes on the property that day. We had done a camp, a camp. It was athlete day, I used to call it. But so I met him coming out the tent, and I asked my sister. I was sitting right next to her. I said, "Oh my God, he is cute. Who is he?" And Brandon was like, "Who, Ben?" I was who, Ben? I said, well, what does Ben do? She's girl, really? And he was with a sponsor, a big company. I won't say the name because he left him. So I won't say the name that he was with at the time. But he was with with a big company. And my sister was like, oh, I think he a little, he might be a little corny for you. That's what my sister said, right? And so I saw him. I was initially I was like, oh my God, he is so handsome. Well, we ended up talking. And then he said to me, oh, you host things. I have a foundation here in Dallas. Would you be interested in hosting something for my foundation? I said, okay, are you paying? I don't do free.
We not playing them games.
I don't do free. He's like, of course.
Well, did you think that he was flirting with you?
No.
You thought it was just straight?
No.
Okay.
No, because when we initially started talk, like our first interaction after I thought he was cute, I didn't feel like it maybe was like an initial like love at first sight chemistry. He started talking, I was just like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You know, I wasn't dating my potential then. You know what I'm saying? I think like
what were you dating?
Like
what was your
life? You know what I'm saying? I was very much in the thug. You know, like so I really wasn't dating
before you were delivered.
I don't think I was really, you know, walking in the full gift of who I could be. You know,
so you didn't recognize that he might have been that gift.
You know what? I just thought he would be a great friend at first. At first, I thought, oh, he's super nice. I think he might be a great friend. Well, then when he ended up hitting me up. And he was talking on the phone, and at the time, I was doing hair. I was a hairstylist, and so I was going to work, and I was late for work, y'all. I was late for work, and I said, "Can you put this in the email?" I was like, "Can you put this in the email, please?" Because I don't have the time. I can't talk right now. I'm like trying to get to work. I was standing in my kitchen. I will never forget it. And he said, "Okay." So he said, "Oh, I'm gonna be in Atlanta. Let's have a meeting." So I said, "Okay." So he ended up coming to Atlanta, and we ended up, he made reservations. We went to dinner. He said, "Can we go to lunch?" I said, "I don't have any time available. The only thing I have on my schedule is dinner." He said, "Okay, fine." He made dinner reservations, and we talked about this event for like 10 minutes, and then the rest of the time,
it was a date.
I was like, he is going to make somebody a really good boyfriend. And I still was not like, maybe he's not for me, right? And, he was in town for the weekend. He ended up asking me, he called me the next day and he said, "Can we go out again?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, I know you bougie. You want to go somewhere bougie?" And I said, "No." I was like, "Wherever." He was like, "I want to go to you got like a little Mexican spot." I said, "Oh, I got the perfect little spot." So I took him there, and we ended up chatting it up again. He was just the ultimate gentleman, so nice. So I was like, oh my God, this man is so cool. How could my sister ever think that this man could be corny? He is not. He is litty. litty lit,
right?
He was so cool. And so we just started a friendship before we even started dating.
So how did you not friend zone him? Because he was so cool and so nice. Because from my experience, same exact experience of, this is a good man. You know, like, I'm not necessarily knowing if he's going to be my man, but he is a good man. Like, this conversation is so good. He's listening, all of the things. And I know for a lot of women who are dealing with trauma, they're used to toxic behavior, they're used to being mistreated and abused, they run at the first sight of, oh my God, this is a good man, because it sometimes is, I don't know if I'm ready for this good man, or I don't know how to receive this good man, or I don't know. So were you ever met with that part of it? Like, how did he not end up getting friend zoned because he was too good of a man? Because you like the thug life, like you said.
No, but you know what? Even with that, I still liked a really good person. Like, no matter what their life choices were, I still was attracted to a very genuine,
a gentle gangster.
Yeah, like a gentle giant. You know, hard exterior, but still like very loving and kind and treats you very well. Like, I was still attracted to that, right? But when I met Ben, I never thought that something could ever be too good to be true for me. I never believed that something was ever too good to be true for me. I believed that I was deserving of every good and perfect gift. I was deserving of it. I was worth it. And so I never looked at someone coming into my life as it being this thing of like, oh, girl, he too good. I know he gonna do something ain't right. No, I just believe that because of me knowing who I was and me understanding like all the things, not whose daughter I was, but because of who I was, just how I walked and talked and carried myself and had an understanding of life and had my own perspective and had my own understanding of what I wanted, I knew what I was worth. So when he presented himself as being all of these great things, I didn't necessarily think on the front end, oh, this could be my man, but I was never going to throw him or cast him to the side to say that the possibility isn't there. I just wanted an opportunity to get get to know him better. I wanted the opportunity to get to grow with him a little more and to see what his intentions were, you know? And so, because my husband had been married before. So I wanted to make sure, like, okay, are you entering this? Like, I'm cool with you. You know, if you need to sow your wild oats and you need to have a little moment, take your time. I'm not going to hold you up. I'm not going to demand anything from you that you aren't able to give. I was just like, I want to have a good time. And so in me having a good time, a lot of things grew from that. But I was just open to having a good time.
She was open to have a good time, y'all. So the 90-day rule that your daddy talk about, when was that in your life? Because I just feel like,
you know, that's not applicable for me. That's not applicable for me.
Why is that not applicable?
Because I think that the choice to have sex or be intimate with someone is your choice.
I agree 1,000%.
It's your choice. I don't think that a time frame or I have to have this many outings with the dates with this person. I have to go
or
out
wait
this
till you circle this date on the calendar.
Or here's 90 days. Well, if I'm feeling frisky, baby, I'm feeling frisky. You know, I might, you know, I like.
She said 9 days,
me.
baby.
It could be. It could be.
Listen,
it could be. The possibilities are
there. It's there.
I don't adhere to that because I think that that's a choice that you have to make for yourself. And I think there have been couples who have had sex on the very first date and had a long, prosperous, wonderful marriage and relationship. And I think it's people who've waited 2 years and have had a shit show of a marriage.
Yeah, this is fact.
So I don't think that has any bearing, the time frame on when you have sex. I don't think it has a bearing on the level of success or a joy in your relationships. I just don't think it has I think it is great for people who are looking for that type of advice. But I don't think for me, that advice, I did not adhere to that advice. Absolutely. No.
I did not follow that part.
It was not for me. I think for all of those people who want to wait and they want to wait till marriage and they want to
do that thing. Do your thing.
That ain't for me, baby.
You got to know yourself.
I need to test drive.
You need to test drive the ride.
Drive. I don't want nothing I ain't seen the interior.
What about shacking up? Do you need to test drive the living situation?
You know what? I didn't.
What's your advice? Your niece come to you, say, Auntie, I'm thinking about, like, I really like this guy we're thinking about, but I think I need to just see what we're really like, you know, like living together. What should I do?
And I would say the choice is yours. The choice is always yours. You know, like what works for me may not work for you. I didn't make the choice to live with my husband. We lived in separate cities until we got married.
Wow.
Until literally we got married. I lived in Atlanta. He lived in Dallas. Y'all, we got married and I was like moving my shit.
Wow.
Like literally when we came back from our honeymoon, I was still living out of suitcases. When I found out I was pregnant, I literally had like my stuff was still in Atlanta.
Okay, so
it's your choice. It's your choice.
And every situation is different. Every situation is different, and that's why the cookie cutter things just don't always.
It does not like. I don't think relationships it can be done. It's not a one size fits all. I think what works for you may not work for me, and our experiences are different. Like I was very comfortable with living my life in Atlanta and him living his life in Dallas. And when we got married, okay, cool. Like we lived together. And now I'm willing to shut down my life in Atlanta because that was a sacrifice I had to make. But until we got married, I wasn't willing to make that sacrifice.
So how long did you date before you got married?
We met in 2012. We got married in 2015.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got engaged in 2014.
So you did long distance for 3 years. Advice for someone out there that's dealing with
it works.
How?
It works.
How often were you seeing each other? Like how did you make it work?
He had a rule.
Okay.
My husband's rule was we have to see each other every other week. In order for me to feel comfortable in this relationship, that was his boundary. That's what he said. That's what he set up. And so because he wanted that, he made it happen. He was like, okay, I bought your ticket. Here's your check your email. Here's your this. I booked this. Oh, you're going to be flying here. I'm going to meet you there. And so we were very much on the go. So I was always flying somewhere, doing something. And so we had the means to say, I can meet you here. I can do this. So it wasn't a financial strain for us. Versus someone else who may have, maybe limited in their resources, that may not work for them. Like, I'm cool with long distance. I've had like 3 relationships long distance, and it never bothered me at all, because I could, if you got plane money, I'm cool.
You good. Yeah,
if
I can get flued out,
baby,
we good.
If I get flued out,
I'm coming. Okay, so I've heard, I don't know if we were talking to each other or I was interviewing you or you were being interviewed or something, but we had the conversation around those 3 years in waiting.
Okay.
And I know, you know, we kindred spirits, because the same feeling you had where it was like, brother, man, if that clock strikes 12 and I don't have a ring on this finger, baby, the Facebook status gonna change, the girl about to do, you know, all of the things. And I feel like that is like, I don't know of a relationship where there was never a time, even if it was just a month or 2, there is a time where the woman is feeling like, all right, now the clock is ticking, my expectations are, you know, what's going on here. So for someone who might be dealing with that, and you've successfully worked through, you know, wondering like, when is the right time? So how did you navigate that? And then the other question is, what conversations did you have or questions did you ask that you were comfortable enough to not go crazy?
Okay, well, that's, you know, it's very interesting. Part of me did not go into the relationship with necessarily a desire to be married.
Oh,
I didn't always,
to him or period?
Period. Okay. Like, I didn't necessarily, you know, throughout my 20s, you know, there are women and girls who, they're constantly planning their wedding day, right? They're constantly thinking of the dress and the bridesmaids. And yeah, I want to have a wedding because I want a dress. But when I actually thought about the marriage part, I was like, it scared me a bit, you know? It scared me to think about, oh my God, sharing my entire life with someone. But what I always knew was, if I'm going to continue to be in a long-term partnership, I know what I'm worth. And so I will always went into the understanding when you know, my husband and I, he had been married, and I said to him, like, look, if this is something that you don't want, I'm okay. Like, I can move on, and I will be cool with you moving on. I'm cool either way. But I know that I'm not a lifetime girlfriend. I know that I'm not that, though. So
is there another option?
Well, shit, I don't know. People doing what they call it when you live together with someone. Why is the word escaping me?
Common law?
Common law. I mean, people do common law. They do all sorts of things. Some people don't have the desire to be married. So when I was like, okay, well, I'm not necessarily looking for marriage, right? And I remember I had this comment. Oh my God, it was so funny. So we were standing outside of a wedding. We're standing outside of a wedding. My dad says, me and Ben weren't married at the time. And my husband was like standing like close to the valet, and then me and my dad were standing on the side. He said, well, what you and Ben doing? What you and Ben doing? And I said, what you mean? He's like, well, I mean, how long y'all gonna keep this up? What's going on? So then I said, well, we fine, you know? And he was like, I said, you know, Dad, I don't even know if I want to get married. I don't even know if I want to get married. I said, because, you know, Ben be on my nerves sometimes. Like, he be on my nerves. He said, well, what you think this shit is? What you think this shit is? You know? And it was like, do you think you gonna like somebody every day? And he was like, you ain't no little girl no more, Karli. You ain't no little girl. What you gonna do? And I was like, he was like, I mean, it's just that time. You gotta think of your life. And he was like, y'all can be better if y'all married. Y'all can be better if y'all got a partnership. Y'all can be, it would be better. And so I walked away from that conversation just thinking like, he was like, y'all gonna have to bust a move. You gonna have to bust a move, do something. I mean, you gonna be with him or you not? Yeah. But y'all ain't gonna keep doing this. Like, oh, we should be together. You know, like, it ain't gonna work, you know? And my family, I come from a very traditional family, you know, very traditional set of values. And like, you're married, you have a family. Like, it is, you know? And so, so after having that conversation, you know, it changed my perspective of how I thought about my relationship and how I looked at our partnership going forward and what our life could look like if we were married. And you know, from that conversation, you know, Ben was always like, I want to marry you. I want to be with you. But I always was like, I think because I came from a divorced home, because it was always that looming thing in the back of my mind, like, well, this shit ain't gonna work. You know, this shit might not work. It just might not work. It may not be perfect, you know? And I was so caught up on this idea of perfection and having a perfect relationship, I wasn't willing to think and expand my mind to see that that there is, outside of the walls of that perfection, there's some areas of growth, there's some areas of healing, there's some areas of stretching, there's some areas of pressing that this person is called into my life to bring forth, right? And so I had to look at it from a different lens of maturity. And that's really what it was. So initially I wasn't like, oh, I have to be married. But as time started to go on, and after that conversation, it made me think, like, well, what could my life be like? Like, I knew that I was worthy, but I was like, why am I not giving myself the opportunity to walk in the fullness of what that is? You know? And so I just had to you know, I said, no matter what, I'm going to take a chance. You know, I'm going to take a chance on something.
So you mentioned, you know, coming from a very traditional family. I feel like we don't put enough weight and we don't do enough thinking about, like, our roots, like where we came from, what we were raised to believe, what we saw, what we witnessed, what we experienced, all of those things, and how that's impacted the decisions we've made so far. Yes. So if you come from a traditional family who historically, you know, everybody's gotten married, you know, you do things in a specific order.
Yeah, they got married and divorced, though. You know, like, okay, let's be clear. Okay.
But the intention was there, though. The intention was there.
The intention was
right?
there.
So that could bring pressure in a good way or a bad way, because you think you have to live up to the standard. So that could lead you to not even attempting, because I can't live up to what my family has done. Or you come from the family that has no standards, no structure. They didn't even attempt to do the things. And then that can impact you positively or negatively, because you're like, I'm going to do things the opposite of what they did, or this is all I have to do because this is all that I know. So do you feel like, coming from a traditional family, coming from a public family, coming from your family, how do you feel like you have to put up with, like, a perfectionist air of perfection? Like, I have to appear perfect because of this standard that other people may be holding me to.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
It took me a lot to get around about to that question, but we got there.
Yeah, I think that there is a standard. Because we have been under the microscope at times, you know, there is a way in which that they, you know, think that your life is, you know, they think that it's one way. Like, oh my God, they are like the perfect blended family. You know, they are perfect. Look at them. They show up. Everyone's smiling. Everyone looks great. Oh my God, look at her dressed so nice. Oh, look at her. Yeah. But I think under all of that, I think it showed me that I can still show up as myself, though, you know, and that comes with flaws. That comes with not always saying things the way in which someone else would say them, or deem it like, oh, that's right. That's the right way. You know, I say a lot of things that can be like, oh, well, that stung a little bit. Wow. Ooh. You know, that had a little heat to it, you know. But I think coming from my family, it shaped me in a way. Like, even with my mother and my father, you know, my father is very public and very famous, but my mother, and he's taught me so many things, but so has my mother. You know, my mother taught me nurture. She taught me love. She built my confidence and my self-esteem. She told me all the things that I was capable of. We couldn't even say can't in the house. You know, we couldn't grow up saying, I can't do that. She's like, yes, you can. And you don't say can't up in here. But also, it showed me the things that I wanted in a relationship and the things that I didn't want in a relationship. You know, my mom was that mom who was constantly there. So she gave me almost like this, like, I kind of entered into marriage with this, like, superwoman syndrome at times.
You had to do all the things. I had
to do it all, you know, and then I had to let that shit go. You know, so it's not serving me. But then, you know, like, my dad, you know, he showed me, like, that hard work and, like, nothing is unobtainable, right? But then I also learned what I wanted in a partner from that. You know, like, my dad is very like, you take care of your family, you do things this way, you are a protector and provider, you do that. And so I saw that and said, oh, that's what I want. I want, you provide? Yes. and you can protect. Yes. Okay. Right? I went into it like that. But also not having my dad showed me like I wanted someone who was going to be there in the trenches of life, you know, with the day to day, not just the provider part of it, but the emotional providing of it, the part that aches and yearns for love, attention, affection, all of those things. That showed me that part, because it taught me, like, you know, I never was hungry for food, but I was starving for attention. You know, I was never hungry for food, but I was starving for time. I was starving for attention. And so both have its effects. You know, like, yeah, hunger pains, those are real. That's immediate. You feel that. But like, the effect of the not having the attention, well, that's like an earthquake. You feel the tremors long after. You know, there's an aftershock. And so I wanted to have a relationship where the person, my partner, could be provider, protector,
and present,
but also present. Like, I needed that part. I needed the part that was there, because I'm not a single mom. So I'm not showing up to shit single. I'm not doing things solo. Like, you here, I make sacrifice to show up at the events. You be there too, because that's what I wanted to see. And so the things that I didn't get, I now have to, I make them a priority for the things that I want, need, and desire in my own life.
So how do you balance, so much to unpack there, but how do you balance because the superwoman syndrome is really real. Most of us saw our mothers, even if they weren't struggling, that's even worse to have never seen them struggle, because you think that they held it together and they were able to do it. And then you start getting older and you like, what the hell? This is what my mama been doing? When I had my son, I literally said to myself at least every day for the first 90 days, like, I cannot believe this is what women have been doing. Y'all just been doing this. This is crazy.
I thought it was insane.
To have that superwoman syndrome just naturally in us, where we feel like we have to do all the things, coupled with you coming from a home where you didn't always have that presence. So you are overcompensating because you really want to be present, right? How do you be present for your family but also present for yourself?
Oh, man. Number one, I take therapy. I go to therapy.
Say that one more time.
I go to therapy, and I was in therapy before my husband and I got married, right? And I have told this story before, how my husband was like, I really want to marry you, but I feel like there's some stuff you need to work on. And I was like,
tell the story again.
But then I was like, my nigga, you don't think you need to work on something too? Like, you showing up, you're imperfect, you know? But what it showed me was he was the catalyst. Like, he was the person that opened the door that I could walk through to actually get to therapy, right? So because, you know, I look at it as like, well, dang, why he saying that? What he talking about? But I was defensive. And knowing I came to the party with a lot of baggage, you know, I was like, okay. But it was a great start on my journey, right? But the pandemic, I had fallen off of therapy, then the pandemic hit, right? And then I was at home with everybody in my house, and I was trying not to catch a charge, you know, trying not to kill everybody, you know, because being at home, I was like,
losing it.
I don't think I like y'all. I thought y'all did, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I like y'all. But it really brought me back to the state of like, I need to talk to somebody. I got to get some stuff out. And so I started going to therapy, and I look at it as like such a blessing of going to therapy. But what it showed me, like, I thought I had boundaries before. Like, I read, you know, the book Boundaries like years ago, like, oh, boundaries, so great. Yeah. But then I had to like come back to the fact, like, I am not adhering to my own boundaries. I'm setting up stuff and I'm creating chaos in my own life. And so I was angry and upset, and I was raging and mad because I'm saying these things, but then my actions and my words
not following through, right?
You know? And so now what I do, I definitely go to therapy and I talk to someone, but I've learned how in therapy, I've learned the language to use. I've learned the words on how to express myself, instead of maybe where some people may get silent, or some people rage, or some people become really passive aggressive and do all these things. I just learned the words to say, like, this is what I need. You know, even when it doesn't feel like it's something that may hurt my partner, even when I feel like it may be something that my husband doesn't want, I'm like, this is what I need. You know, for example, and I don't even know if it's too soon to use this example, but I'm going to just go ahead and might bless somebody, you know. But you know, a couple weeks ago before spring break, my husband wanted to go out on a date. He was like, oh, yeah, I want to go out. I want to do this and do that, da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. You know, I'm cool with like us doing date night. You know, we try and do once a week. We got the, you know, somebody watch BJ or whatever. But if it doesn't happen, it's like every other week. Sometimes it's twice a week. It just depends, right? Well, at that time, you know, a couple weeks ago before spring break hit, all I was thinking about was like, I'm gonna be the primary caretaker. My son's at home for spring break. So I'm going to be doing a lot of shuffling and moving my schedule around. And then we're going on a spring break trip. So then I'm going to be devoting to my family the entire 5 days that we're out of town with nowhere else to go but to be with them, you know? So I started thinking like, do I want to go out tonight with you? And not in a bad way. And I think, like, I had to be very honest because I know what date night means. Date night means I have to nurture someone else. I have to cater. I have to show up. And I got to be sexy and get me home.
You got to put on.
And I got to be like, oh, baby, you know, oh, my God, yeah, look at you. You're so fancy. You know, all of those things. And I was like, do I have the capacity for it tonight? Do I have the capacity for it today? And I had to be very honest. I ended up calling my husband when he was at, you know, at the office or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you know I said yesterday night, but I said, you know, I really don't want to do date night tonight. I said, I would rather do something that feeds me and nurtures me. And I think that was like going out with my sister or like having girl time with my sister or doing something like that. And like, that can be very offensive to your partner.
Was it offensive?
You know, he said he wasn't, but, you know, he brought it up again. You know, I don't know if being watching. He brought it up again. But he said he wasn't offended, ladies and gentlemen. But he did
mention it.
He did bring it back up. So I knew it hit a nerve, right? But I still had to honor that part of myself that knew, like, dang, there's going to be a lot of sacrifice for me this week. How can I do something for myself and feed that part of myself that I know needs it? You know, and that can seem very selfish. Like, I'm not the type of person who looks at, like, getting their nails done as, like, therapeutic or like a, like, oh, that's
my self-care day.
Like, I get my nails drilled on. You know what I'm saying? I wear acrylic. Yeah. Like her doing this, that's not therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? So I got to think of another way. I do my own hair half the time, so I'm not going to sit and get my hair done. So I have to think of other things that make motherhood and being a wife and all of those hats that I wear, I have to do something that is for me. And I have to learn how to say this is what I need, because that's a part of growing up. My mom never got to say what she needed. My mom never got to say, like, hey, I'm taking a me day. I'm taking a girl. Like, I don't ever remember my mom ever going on a girls trip. I don't know my mother to ever go on a girls trip, to be like, yeah, we doing a weekend at the spa with me and so-and-so. Like, what?
Yeah, not a thing.
I don't ever recall my mom ever taking that time. But I also know that she carried the weight of not having time. I know she carried the weight of not having all of these other avenues of help and support that I now have the luxury of having and taking advantage of. And that's why I said, if I got it, I'm going to take advantage of it. Like, I had a nanny at one point. That's a very touchy subject for me.
That's another episode?
That's probably another episode.
Okay.
Child. That was a real bad, it was traumatic for me. It was a very bad experience.
Put it on the schedule.
But so I am like, I'm such a like hands-on, very involved mom. And I do know my husband is constantly like, okay, you got to get help. Like, you can't just be asking your sister and your family like to do stuff. Like, we need a person who we pay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna look at somebody, and then I don't. So I'm very like, And I'm very because I'm so protective of my home life. You know, it's very important to me. You know, so and my son, so I am so protective in that way. So I haven't found anyone after this bad experience I had, but you know, I just want to be able to show up better for myself and take advantage of the life that I've created. You know, I work hard. I do all of these things. My husband works hard. And I want to be able to say, like, hey, I need time for me.
So speaking of having time, you got married on what day?
September 26, 2015.
And found out you were pregnant on what day?
October 31st, 2015.
So less than 2 months of you enjoying your life as a newlywed.
Yes.
You had to now start thinking about, I'm going to become a mother.
Yes.
How did you deal with so many transitions publicly? And, you know, you dealt with them personally, but then they appeared publicly. How did you go through those transitions? Because I don't think people realize how challenging those transitions are. It's even they're challenging even if you're planning for them. Yeah. But when you're not, I mean, you might have talked about it. Your girl talked about having a baby plenty of times, but actually showing up pregnant, that was not a part of the plan.
Showing up pregnant is different.
That's different.
Y'all would have thought I was 16 and pregnant, bitch.
Me too. And I'm like, yo, you are grown as hell. Get it together.
You would have thought they was doing an MTV special on
Just
me when I found out I was pregnant. I said, you are too damn grown
to be acting like this.
To be acting like
me too.
Your whole world just fell apart. I said, what you
like? It's not time for this, like, girl. It's definitely time for this.
I said, my sister, y'all don't even know when I went to get the pregnancy test. Y'all, this is how nutty my ass is, y'all. My sister comes to town. We had just got to Dallas, and she had come to town. It was Halloween weekend. I mean, we had just been married, right? So, y'all, I said, oh, my God. I was like, I really think I'm pregnant. Like, y'all, this is a straight up honeymoon baby. I said, I think I'm pregnant. Oh, my God. So, and then my husband, Randy, like, that's just the stress. You just stressed. And, you know, I turned into, like, Olivia from, like, the Cosby Show. I know my body. I know my body. You know, I know my body, you know. So, y'all, I go get the pregnancy. Brittany's like, well, what you waiting on? Go get a pregnancy test. So then I was like, y'all, I'm at Walgreens picking up, like my old ass talking about, like, she can't get a pregnancy test. Girl, I'm putting in mascara.
You was ashamed.
I started putting all this shit with it. And then put it up to the thing.
Childish, real child. I did the same thing.
It's not even thinking about your girl. You don't put that goddamn pregnancy test up there. Child, what was I doing? Just crazy. I had turned into a real nut. So, find out I'm pregnant, right, y'all? And I literally, y'all, and it wasn't even cute. You know how some people, like, they present they pregnancy test to their man in, like, a gift box, and they like, look at that, like, oh, they're like, open this. Open this. And then they like, oh, it's so beautiful. And then they cry. Y'all, I was in the bathroom flat ironing my hair, and I did like this. Look at this. And then he was like, what is that? Like, what? Like, he ain't never seen one. His old ass, too. He was like, what the,
What's wrong with you?
And y'all, girl, we sat aside. We was crying. Like, we were, like, really crying. Like, I'm like, what? What are we about to do? Like, what?
Like, you're not grown.
Like, we are not adults. Y'all.
It's shameful.
It was a mess. It was a hot mess when I felt, I don't even know. It was a hot mess. But we just felt like we weren't given enough time to just kind of just like get in the flow of marriage. We had this idea that, our first year of marriage, all we're going to do is travel. We're going to be, we had on our honeymoon in Bali, we had planned our 1-year anniversary trip. We were going on a tour in Italy, right? We were like, we're going to work our way down.
Had all the plans.
2 weeks doing this. Well, we literally sat on the beach in Bali and was like, yo, this is what we doing. And baby, a year later, y'all know what we did for our 1-year anniversary because our son was here. Our son was born. He was a couple months older at the time. My mom flew into town and kept him, and we slept. All we did was sleep. All these grand ideas of what we would do on our 1-year anniversary. All we did was
parent
sleep.
tiredness is different.
That's it. We sat on the couch and slept. That's all we did. And y'all, we end up running up to like Davio's or something up at Phipps because it's like down the street. We ran up there to go get something to eat. That was it. That's all we did. Grand plans a year before. That's how your life will change in a year. But we just didn't feel like we were ready to just enjoy marriage.
Because of that, did you ever experience postpartum?
You know, I didn't feel like I do feel like there was a real effect of postpartum. Like I didn't really think it was necessarily a depression or something, but I was in a state of mourning. And I will say the state of mourning was I was mourning my old life.
Yes, ma'am.
I was mourning my old life. I literally, in the time that I had gotten married and had BJ, before I got married, I was on a plane every 3 days. You know, I was working, I was constantly doing stuff. And then my life came to like a screeching halt. And for me, who was used to being on the go, I had no understanding of just sitting in the house. I was like, wait.
With no choice.
With like, what? And then like a baby on my boob all day. I was blown. I just could not even, I had no understanding of the feeling of grief that I would have looking at like my friends doing
living a life.
And like my sister and I, we are twins, but our lives are not parallel. Our lives are very different. You know, she is single and free, her level of freedom. You know, even at that time, I had this expectation that because it's my sister, my best friend, my twin, oh, baby.
This your baby too.
Yeah, we are raising this baby together. This is your baby too. Here you go. Here's our baby. Like, that's how close we are. I'm like, this is our baby. And then my sister was like, yeah, nah.
Bye.
I'm not doing that. What? I don't do that. And I was like, you just leaving me? Like, you're leaving me? Like, and I had to,
it's a real thing.
I had to grieve our relationship and how it changed and how I had an expectation of her to show up for me in a way, and she didn't. And I was like, where's the love you have for me?
So we always talk about the change of, well, I'm married now, right? So my relationship with my single friends is going to change. And we think about it from that perspective, but we don't ever think about how it changes for the person who got married. Like we can easily wrap our mind around a single friend feeling like they're left out now, but you don't often think about the wife feeling like, I'm mourning my old life. Because even being a wife, you're mourning your single self.
You are.
Right? Before you were delivered, you're mourning that old life. And I think what you just said is literally exactly how I would describe, like, thinking that you were going to go back to being who you were before you had this baby. I'm just me with a baby now.
Yeah. No,
ma'am.
No.
This is a new... It's a whole
Your life
new...
will
never be the same. But realizing that is a different type of feeling.
Yes.
Like, this is real. I don't have no choice. And so going from being free and independent and doing all the things to like literally being locked down, I think is a level of grief that a lot of people are not prepared for. So just you saying that, I know makes somebody feel like, okay, it's not just me.
No,
like,
you are not alone. Like I had to think about, and when people say like, I remember my mom when we were kids, and this is how my mom kept us from having sex and being teenage parents, right? It's fear, scared. She scared the shit out of us. Thank you. And she said, right now, see, right, what happens is, see, you're fun. You will be fun for him. You're fun. You fun. You get to do. You get to go. You get to be. You get to show up. Oh, yeah, I'm fun. But see, when that baby come, you ain't fun no more.
Facts.
You ain't fun no more. See, the fun is gone. Fun gone. Like, and I used to be like, okay, well, ma'am. Okay, thank you. I'm not having a baby as a teenager. Thank you very much. Because I'm scared. Thank you, the fun, But that is how, like, you gotta raise kids with some fear a little bit.
Scare them a little bit. It worked though.
But it did, because I always thought like, dang, like my life won't be fun anymore. Won't be fun. But having BJ at the time and getting married, at the time that I did, I had more. It wasn't about my fun leaving. I had more to offer him than if I would have had a child younger. I did. Not to say that young mothers don't have anything to offer. That is not what I'm saying.
Right.
I think if that is the task that has been given to you, I say Godspeed. Do what you got to do, because that's what we all end up doing at the end of the day. We just do what we got to do.
Yep.
We just doing what we got to do, right? But I will say, I now offer him a different perspective. I offer him more in the sense of not monetary things, but I offer him a different level of parenting, because I'm coming from like, okay, like I'm really in therapy. So I really be trying to talk about my stuff. And even when my son be having a whole ghetto meltdown, ghetto, so ghetto. When he be doing stuff, I be like, whoa, my God, I'm just trying to keep my hands off you. I just want to keep my hands off you. When I am in that moment, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I know that it is from, because, you know, I grew up, you know.
Wait, pause. What do you do when your kid does bad things? Because I'm starting, like, I got a 1-year-old. He acting terribly too. What do you do when your child does bad things? Seriously. Because you know you didn't teach them that. Where did they get it from? What do you do, honestly?
It depends on the day. It depends on the day. Like, sometimes I am healed and I'm talking calm. What they saying now? Gentle parenting.
Gentle parenting.
I be like, no, that's it. You know, gentle my ass. Who being gentle? You know. So some days I'm going into it like, I'm like, hey now. Hey, guy. Hey. Come here. Let's have a conversation. What's going on? What are you feeling? A lot of big feelings. You got a lot of big feelings inside of you, right? There's a lot of big feelings. Well, those big feelings, you know, I'm trying, right?
Get the camera off me.
And then there are some days I flip out. You know, I flip out and I'm in there acting a whole nut. Baby, everybody acting ghetto up in here today.
Everybody. You meet him where he is.
I meet you right there. Oh, you want to act up? I can act up too.
Wow.
Woo.
So
it's I'm just learning. I'm just showing up, doing the best I can. And some days it's, you know, that's what I got.
You got to do what you got.
Sometimes it's just not. Like, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I be like, hey, man. Hey, all right. Hey, sir. Come here. Let's talk. Let's calm it down. And I try and get down. I be like, all right. And then some days,
does that work? Some days.
Sometimes. And then sometimes he be Master P body. You know, he is a TRU soldier. You know, he is true to the game.
Were you true to the game as a child?
Yes.
Yeah. So you saw it, you had it coming.
I had a try me spirit.
Yeah.
I had a try me spirit. My mom says I'm only getting back what I got.
Yeah.
She was like, it's hard looking in the mirror.
She smiled when she said it too, right?
Yeah, she was like,
was waiting for this day.
My son is very quick, very witty. I mean, his timing is almost like, dang, that is very good.
But don't say that.
Don't say that. Like, what? Like, you know, he says stuff.
That was impressive, but don't embarrass me.
Bruh, like, come on, like, show people I'm a good mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Cheerlead for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Show everybody that we are doing well at home. Like, you know, in my head. You know, but that's just my own shit, my own ego. But yeah, sometimes he act a fool. And sometimes I act a fool too as a mom. I do.
You have to.
I cut
that's
up.
The thing,
I'll be like, yep, I'm done. It'll be like, cut the camera. Cut it. Like, yeah, I'm about to go off.
So for the mothers, wives, businesswomen out there who feel like, you know, they look on Instagram, they watch these reality shows, and they feel like all the people got everything together and they're the only ones that are falling apart or not figuring it out. What is your advice for someone out there who literally just feels like, girl, this all sounds good. You say your son acting ghetto, but you got it all together. Like, I can't relate to that. What do you say to the woman who just needs a word of encouragement to keep going?
I would say, you know, it is like that thing where, you know, they always say, you know, Instagram is a highlight reel. It really is. You know, I only show y'all when BJ is happy and smiling. Look, he did so well, you know. I'm not showing y'all the days, you know, I'm in carpool. Like, some days in carpool, I look cute. You know, I'll be like, oh, look at me. Hey, carpool. Carpool. Hey, fly. And then some days, I look like, ma'am. Ma'am, nothing can happen to you. You cannot get out the car. The way you got these socks and Birkenstocks on, ma'am. You cannot.
Riding only from the garage to the garage.
And then the carpool administrators open the door and I'd be like, hi, how are you? But it's not about having it all together. It's just about showing up as your best. And sometimes, we think that our best is glitz and glam, and it's not. It's showing up loving, present, kind. It's showing up being attentive to where you see that your child's needs are that day, because just like they're just a little human. You know what I'm saying? And just how you don't want to be bothered some days, he don't want to be bothered either. Like, I know my son be like, I don't want to be bothered with your ass either. Like, I want up out of here too. And I have to recognize that although we want our children to show up as these perfect little people, we recognize that we show up flawed every day. And it's accepting that and knowing like every day is not gourmet meals. Some days meals are drive-through. Some days you showing up as your best is going through the drive-through.
Really?
And giving them.
Yes. See, I thought you be chefing it up.
I did. When I was at home with my son, when I first got married, I was cooking every day. Well, I run a business. I have a team of employees. I don't have time to do chefing meals every day.
Did you feel bad about that?
You know what? There was a part of me that was like, oh, I'm not doing that no more. And then the part was like, bitch, get over it. You know what I'm saying? Get over it. Boom. I just knocked that little bit off my shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
On to bigger and better. Got you.
Moving. Sometimes meals are throw some fries in the oven and some samosas or something. And it may not even look right. But you know what I do? I just put some strawberries on there. Some berries. And look at it. Oh, look at it.
Garnish. Put some garnish around it.
It's beautiful. I cut up a little bit of the crudité. I say, look at these fresh carrots. It's carrot sticks, bitch. That's it. And just throw them in there and everything looks colorful. And look at it. And then it equalizes the fries. It's just great equalizer. So I noticed like sometimes your best is just that. It is showing up that way. It is showing up like all I got time for. Okay, I'm good with, okay, we're dropping out. Okay. Sometimes it's throwing on that Disney Plus. Sometimes it's like, I don't really have the capacity right now, but guess what? Disney Plus is parenting right now. They are babysitting, and I feel great. It's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's allowing them to be on their tablet. I used to be the mom who, girl, before I had kids, I used to be like, oh,
my kid will never.
I used to see kids out. I am not going to have my child
sitting at this dinner table
out to
girl,
eat.
I pull that phone out. Who got your phone?
Who
Baby,
got the phone?
YouTube? You logged in?
Do you have it? I used to be like, I'm not about to do that, man. My kids gonna know how to have conversation with people at the table. And then we start going out to eat. And then they want to cut up. And then you were like, oh, hell no. I want to eat in peace. Mm-hmm. I want to enjoy my food without feeling like I want to knock you in the goddamn mouth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
bring your
turn
supplies.
This tablets on. Yep. And I'm going to be able to engage in great conversation with my husband.
There are so many things that we thought we were going to do before it was time to do it. And it's like, sis, you thought, which is why you have to give people grace.
Yes.
Right? Give yourself grace because you never know where this thing is going. You never know what's around the corner.
You be the best parent when you don't have no kids.
Facts.
You you an A+ parent when you don't got no kids.
Got all the advice.
Oh my God, look at I can't believe
it did sound good. It sounded good, but I think the moral of the story is you get it how you live, you figure it out, you make the most of it.
Everybody is just trying to figure it out. That's all we doing each and every day. We doing our best to figure out. We getting from point A to point B every day. And we think that everyone's got it all figured out and they don't. I just have learned to keep my blinders on. When I'm looking at Instagram and I'm looking at all these people like, dang, she really getting it. Mm-hmm. Oh, she really doing it. Oh, dang, how she get that? Oh, what's she doing? You know what? I started to think back and be like, my time is coming. Mm-hmm. But I got to get prepared.
Yep.
See, when her opportunity came, she was ready.
Mm-hmm.
She was ready for whatever God had for her. She was ready for that. So while I'm busy looking at them, I got to get ready for what
he got for me. Yep.
I ain't got time to be looking over there, looking at you and looking at your paper and see how you playing this game of life. All I got to do is focus on what I'm doing and say, will I be ready?
Yep.
Will I be ready when my opportunity comes? Will I be ready when the man knocks on the door for me to walk through that next thing? Am I going to be ready? But I can't get ready looking at somebody else. I can't
Girl,
get
pull
ready.
the mic off of there and drop it.
I can't get ready looking at you. Like, you can't do your makeup in the mirror looking at another bitch. You just can't do it. You got to be focused on your eyeliner, putting your lash on. Oh, then here go my lip liner. If I'm looking at your face trying to do my makeup, it's not I'm going to look like a goddamn clown. But if I focus on me and just do what I'm supposed to do and focus on what I got going on, then, man, everything I got is going to come to me.
This is
But I can't worry about you. I don't got the time. I don't have the time. I ain't got the time to be worrying about you.
So listen, Karli, you don't have the time because you're busy being the wife, the mom, the businesswoman. Yes. But we do love keeping up with you over on Instagram. I love keeping up with you over on Instagram when you give us a little glimpse. So don't get too excited. I'm going to tell her to tell her Instagram, but you ain't going to see too much. But for the people who do want to follow you on the gram, let them know where they can find you.
I just do enough.
Just a little bit.
At I am Karli Raymond on Instagram. At I am Karli Raymond on Instagram. And yeah, you can just follow me there and see what's going on. I put something in my story every now and then. And put a little thing up every now and again.
But you're definitely going to be back. Okay. We're going to have to bring Brandy back. Listen, the two of them, we're going to need more than an hour because they cut up. Hey, Brandy girl. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin Podcast. Share this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see y'all next week.
Thank y'all for joining in on IG. We appreciate y'all.
Girl, hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. This channel is all about encouraging you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. And comment below and let me know what you want to see on the next video. Peace out.